Good morning, students. Today we will start the second part of chapter 2, A Gift of Chappal. In first part we read that Mridu and her cousin Ravi and Meena, all of them were talking. Ravi told about Mahendran. He told about the dynasty of Mahendran, and after that Mridu heard the screeching sound that was coming from the window. She was told that Lali was learning to play the violin. Now open your book and at page number 22 and see. Mridu crept up to the window. Mridu came up to the window. He came near the window. Lali was sitting a little distance away, awkwardly holding her violin and was string, her elbows jutting out and her eyes glazed with concentration. When Mridu came near the window, she saw that Lali was sitting a little distance away and she was holding her violin and the string of the violin, and her elbows were protruding out, coming out, and her eyes were shining because of concentration, and she was holding her violin and the string of violin carelessly, unskillfully. In front of her, with most of his back to the window, was the bony figure of the music teacher, and she saw that in front of Lali there was the music master, who was very lean and very thin, and his most of his back was towards the window. He had a mostly bald head with a fringe of wild black hair falling around his ears and an old-fashioned tuft. The music teacher, the music master, had a mostly bald head, very little hair, and having little hair, and fringe means the part of hair that is cut so that it hangs over the forehead. The hair that is hanging over the forehead, over the ears. So the fringe of that wild black hair, it was falling around the ear of that music teacher, and he had an old-fashioned tuft on his head. A gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck. He was wearing a golden chain, and it was shining around his neck, and a diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down the stem of the violin. He was also wearing a diamond ring, and when he was playing the violin, the diamond ring was glittering, was shining when he was playing the violin, means when he was moving his fingers up and down. At that time, the diamond ring was shining. A large foot stuck out from beneath his gold-bordered vest, and he was beating time on the floor with a scrawny big toe. A large foot, it was coming out from beneath his gold-bordered vestige. Vestige means dhoti. It is a Tamil word. It was coming out from beneath his gold-bordered vestige, dhoti, and he was beating his thin and lean toe on the floor. He was beating his thin toe time to time on the floor. He played a few notes. The music master played a few notes. Lali stumbled behind him on her violin. Lali also followed. She also played that notes on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. The violin was looking quite helpless and unhappy in Lali's hands because she was unable to play that violin. What a difference! Here, the question is that what is the difference between the way of playing of the music master and Lali? The music master's notes seem to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible track of the melody. The music master's note, it seemed to float up and settle perfectly in the invisible track of that melody. It was like the wheels of a train fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along. As Ravi said, the music master's notes, it was like the wheels of a train that was fitting smoothly into the rails, and it was moving quickly, making a continuous sound. As Ravi said earlier, Mridu stared at that huge bearing hand moving effortlessly up the violin stem, making lovely music. Mridu gazed at that huge and the hand music masters was wearing, so he sat towards the fingers of the music masters, and the fingers were moving effortlessly up the violin, and it was making a very lovely, very sweet music. Squack, there was Lali dealing again. Again Lali tried to play the violin. Squack, a sound came and it again ran off the track. Amma came a wail from the gate. Amma, oh. And at that time, somebody was there who cried from the gate, Amma. Ravi sent the beggar away, cried his mother from the back veranda, where she was chatting with Tapi. Ravi's mother was talking with Tapi, and she ordered Ravi to send that beggar away. He has been coming here every day for the past week, and it's time he found another house to beg from. Pati explained to Tapi. Pati told Tapi that the beggar was coming there every day for the past week, and now it's time he should find another house to beg from. Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. Ravi went out. Mridu and Meena, both of them, followed him. The beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. The beggar, he had already come in the garden, and he was trying to making himself comfortable. He had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree and was leaning against its trunk, apparently prepared to take a little snooze while he waited for the arms to appear. The beggar had spread his upper cloths under the neem tree, and he was leaning against its trunk. Seemingly, he was prepared to take a short sleep while he got arms. Go away, said Ravi sternly. Ravi harshly ordered to the beggar to go away. My Pati says it's time you found another house to beg from. Ravi said that his Pati says that it was the time for him to find another house to beg from. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. The beggar opened his eyes and he looked towards Mridu, Meena and Ravi. The ladies of this house, he said at last, in a voice choked with feeling, are very kind souls. The beggar said that the ladies of this house, they are very kind. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for a whole week. And he said that he had kept his body and his soul together on their goodness for a whole week. Generosity means goodness. I cannot believe that they would turn me away. And the beggar said that he cannot believe that they are saying to go away. He raised his voice, Amma, Amma, oh. Sad as well might be, but it certainly was not feeble. He again cried, Amma, Amma. His crying, his voice may be full of sad, but it was certainly not weak. It began in a deep, strong rumble somewhere in his withered belly and came booming out of his mouth, with its few remaining teeth stand brown with bitter chewing. The thunder that was beginning in his withered belly and resounding from his stomach and his teeth, it had turned brown because of the bitter chewing. Okay, so students, that's all for today. The remaining part we will read the next day. Okay.